Welcome back. In this second video about noun clauses, you'll get some guided practice in identifying noun clauses and their functions in sentences. But first, let's review. To identify noun clauses, first, identify verbs by type and their corresponding subjects. Underline interrogative pronouns, interrogative adverbs, and expletives that. Bracket noun clauses and identify their noun functions in the sentence. Lastly, identify noun and pronoun functions within the noun clauses. Pause the video here and turn to page 3 of your noun clauses notes. Follow the steps for each of these sentences and we'll review each sentence when you've finished. The first verb is described, which is an action verb. Who or what described? Jorge, which is our subject. The second verb is inspired. Who or what inspired? What Jorge described inspired and therefore is the subject of the verb inspired. The interrogative pronoun what introduces the noun clause, makes the noun clause dependent, and acts as the direct object of the action verb described. Jorge described what? The first verb in this sentence is the be verb is, and its subject is time. The second verb is the action verb bakes, and its subject is father. The interrogative adverb when introduces the clause and makes it dependent. The clause follows a be verb and renames the subject time, so we know that the dependent clause is a noun clause acting as a predicate nominative. Time is when her father bakes cookies for her. Within the noun clause, the noun cookies is the direct object of the action verb bakes, and the pronoun her acts as the object of the preposition for. The first verb phrase in this sentence is did know. Know is an action verb. Its subject is referee. The second verb is the be verb were. Who or what were? Fans were angry. The interrogative adverb why begins the clause and makes it dependent. Because I have an action verb, know, I know to look for a direct object. What did the referee know or not know in this case? The answer is why the fans were angry. So this noun clause is acting as the direct object of the action verb know. In this sentence, our first verb is the action verb gave, and its subject is professor. The second verb is the action verb elected, and its subject is the word class. The interrogative pronoun whomever begins the dependent clause and acts as the direct object of the action verb within the clause elected. Because the first verb gave is an action verb, I know to look for a direct object. The professor gave who or what? The professor gave the job, which is the direct object. Because I have a direct object, I know to look for an indirect object. Who or what received the job? Whomever the class elected received the job, so I know that this is a noun clause acting as an indirect object. Remember, indirect objects will always come between an action verb and a direct object. In this sentence, the first verb is the action verb demanded, and its subject is Penthesilea. The second verb is the action verb volunteered, and its subject is the pronoun whoever, which is also the interrogative pronoun that begins the dependent clause. I identify the preposition from, so I know that the dependent clause is acting as the object of the preposition. Within my dependent clause, the noun army is acting as an object of the preposition for. In this sentence, the first verb phrase is had landed, with landed as an action verb and had as an auxiliary. Who or what had landed? The rover had landed, so rover is the subject. The second verb is delighted. Who or what delighted? The news delighted. So we have an independent clause interrupted by a dependent clause. This dependent clause begins with the expletive that, and the clause acts as an appositive, renaming the noun news. In our last sentence, the first verb phrase is can call. Call is an action verb, and the subject is you. The second verb in the sentence is the action verb want, and its subject is you. We identify the interrogative pronoun whatever and underline it. This pronoun introduces the dependent noun clause, and it functions as the direct object within the dependent clause of the action verb want. You want whatever. Because this sentence includes a direct object following the action verb call, you can call me, we know to look for an object complement, which is the noun clause, whatever you want. Remember, an object complement renames the direct object and changes the meaning of the sentence. The sentence, you can call me, means something different than you can call me whatever you want. Great work. Now, let's add one more step for labeling in the concept check sentence on the bottom of page 3 of your handout. Identify prepositional phrases and place them in parentheses in order to help you find the other elements in this longer sentence. Pause the video now and complete these steps on your concept check sentence. We'll check your answers on the next slide. First, let's check for all of the subject-verb combinations to identify the clauses in this sentence. The first is the be verb was, and its subject is message. The second verb phrase is had broken, and its subject is daughter. The next verb is asked, it's an action verb, and its subject is I. The next verb is owned, and its subject is whoever. The next verb phrase is did know, its subject is I. And the final verb phrase is would arrive, and its subject is also I. Next, place parentheses around all of the prepositional phrases. There are 3 prep phrases in this sentence: for a ride, with whoever owned the fastest car, and at the hospital. Our next step is to underline interrogative pronouns, interrogative adverbs, and expletives that. These signal words alert us to the beginning of dependent clauses. The first signal word is the expletive that. The next is the interrogative pronoun whoever, and the final signal word is the interrogative adverb when. The next step is to bracket those dependent clauses and to identify their noun functions. That my daughter had broken her arm is following a be verb and renames message, so I know it is a predicate nominative. Whoever owned the fastest car is acting as the object of the preposition with. And when I would arrive at the hospital is following the action verb know and acting as its direct object. Well done. Now you're ready to tackle noun clause exercises number 1 when the handout is assigned to you. After you complete the first round of exercises, You'll correct them with the answer key and then refer to the answer key video if you have any questions. Then we'll move on to part 3 of our unit on noun clauses. See you soon.